Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. I'm Ali from Common Stitch and today we're going to take you through sewing our latest pattern, the Bottlebrush tank. So the Bottlebrush tank is a very beginner pattern. It is a simple knit jersey tank top. It's great for beginners. It's got 3 pattern pieces, the front, the back and the shoulder straps. So if you're new to sewing knits or just a beginner at sewing in general, this is a great one to start on. Very easy, very quick, great scrap buster, only takes about less than a meter of fabric, so you can use up all those little scraps you've got at home. So it has been designed to be sewn with a rib knit jersey, so that means it's a jersey knit fabric. It's got lots of little ribs running through it. That just means it's super stretchy, way more stretchier than your standard knit fabric. So the pattern has been designed to allow for the ease of a rib knit fabric. I'll pop a link down below to a few different stores that sell it. The fabric store in Australia is great. They've got a fair few ranges. That's where we got our ones from for these samples. Blackbird fabrics over in America, Canada, they've got some as well, some great colors. So I'll pop some links below so you can find some really easy. You can sew this tank, as well as it being in the rib knit, you can also sew it in a standard cotton jersey fabric. Now, the pattern has been designed for the rib knit. The standard cotton jersey isn't going to have as much stretch, but you can still make it in this. What you need to do is size up at least one size to allow for a bit more ease in the pattern. So as this is a beginner sewing pattern, you really don't need many tools or things to make it. You need a standard sewing machine. You just have to make sure that it can do a straight stitch and a zigzag stitch. You can definitely use an overlocker, which I will do today, but anytime I overlock, which is only like 2 or 3 times, you can definitely just do a zigzag stitch instead. You're going to need a pair of sharp scissors, some pins. You're going to need a safety pin for turning the straps out. It just makes it so much easier. And if you get one of like the larger ones, super quick, super easy. Some of the small ones always break when you're halfway through turning it out. You're going to need some thread and some bobbin thread. And then you're going to need the pattern pieces themselves. So I've just traced this one out. You can find it on our website. I'll pop the link down below as well. But yeah, super quick, easy pattern, very easy to cut out. And it's going to be really easy to sew. So let's get on with it. So the first step is to cut out all of our pattern pieces. So when you get the pattern, it'll have a lot of markings on it. It's a bit hard to see because it's in trace, but it has got a stretch line on it. So when you're sewing with knit fabrics, it doesn't have a grain line as such. It's more what we call a stretch line. So that means the stretch of the fabric. So make sure, test out your fabric, see which way is stretchier. One way will be more stretchy than the other way. And with rib knit fabrics, it is, so you'll have the little ribs going down and then it stretches more kind of going across. So make sure that you line up the pattern pieces and their stretch direction with the stretch of your fabric. So the straps stretch this way and the front and back bodice stretch this way, so it can kind of, you can get it on easily. Okay, so step 1 is going to be doing the shoulder straps. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the shoulder strap, each one separately. We're going to fold it in half and then we're going to stitch all the way down here. Now, if you have an overlocker, you can overlock it at this step. If you don't have an overlocker, totally fine. Just do a zigzag stitch. Make sure you're kind of just sewing towards the edge of it. You don't want to be sewing in the middle because we want a nice thick strap. So just kind of sew right along the edge there with a 1 centimeter seam allowance. Want to make sure that you're not stretching your fabric as you're pulling it through as well. It is definitely going to stretch a bit because it is a stretch fabric, but don't overstretch it, otherwise it's going to stretch out of shape a little bit. So we've got one done. It does go a little bit like wavy. What we can do is give it a good press and it'll flatten straight back out. Easy peasy. So now we'll do the second one. Second one done. Now I'm just going to give them a good press with the iron before turning them inside out. Okay, so now that the shoulder straps are pressed, sitting a lot flatter now. We're going to take our gigantic safety pin and turn them inside out, or the right side out. So if you just pop it in the end, just on one single layer, do it up, and then fold the top through. We're just going to gently turn it inside out and pull it through. So it just means that all the stitching will be on the inside, hidden away, you're not going to see it. Yeah, super easy. So now it's all hidden. So what we're going to do is give it a good press. I've already done the other one. So now that it's been turned inside out and we've had a good press, you can see it's all flat and neat. We've got that side seam that we've just sewn all on the one side. So if we press both of them, and yeah, head on to the next step. Okay, so now we're on to step 2, which is folding down at the top of the bodice. So we're going to take, so we've got the arm curve there. We're just going to take it down 2 centimeters and pin it along there. So you're going to need a measuring tape of some sort or a ruler for this. Nothing fancy. Just mark it down 2 centimeters and pin in place. So now that we have got that pinned in place down 2 centimeters all the way across, we're going to sew it with a really simple zigzag stitch. So this is basically the only stitch that your general sewing machine needs to do. So you want to make sure that your zigzag stitch is set to like a medium stitch length. If it's too small, it's going to sit on top of each other and it's not going to kind of spread out on the knit enough. So I've got mine at a 2.5 setting. So there we have the zigzag stitch. Again, it's going a little bit curly, so we're just going to give it a good press and get that sitting flat. So that one's all pressed now. You can see the little zigzag stitch. I probably could have gone a little bit bigger. I might do a 3 for the next one. You can see how it's still quite tight together, but it still works. So now that we've got the front done, we're going to do the back, which is exactly the same. So we're going to fold down 2 centimeters all the way across the top and zigzag. I love to add a little tag here so you know which side is the back. There isn't too much difference. The back is higher than the front. But yeah, so I'm gonna find a little tag and stitch it in at this time. It means you don't have to tack it in later and you're not gonna have double stitch lines. Decided to go with this cute little flower. The colors match really well. It's one of the Kylie and The Machine and DIY Daisy ones. So I can leave a link to those below as well. Super cute, both Brisbane as well. Love to support local, so yeah, gonna add it into the back. I think I'm gonna put the flower side sticking out. So all sewn in, time for a press. Okay, so the next step is sewing on our shoulder straps to the front and the back bodice to create that shoulder loop. Now this step is a little bit tricky. I'm going to bring the camera down here and show you, but I'll show you first on this completed one. So we pop the strap sitting on the right side of the fabric. So what it does is you won't have this side seam sewn yet. It'll be open, so we kind of pop them next to each other and then we stitch it directly onto like the good side, the side that you'll wear on the outside. So on the backhand side, it'll be the raw edge with the strap just sitting over it. So we're just going to stitch all along there, just up to the top of the bodice, and then we're going to stitch on the shoulder strap onto the back of the bodice, just up to the top part. I'll bring the camera down here. Okay, so I've got the 2 bodices lying flat. So this is the back where we've just sewn the little tag in, and then this is the front. So I've got the side, the inside where we folded it over, facing down on towards the table, and then the faces, the sides that you'll be wearing out to the world will be facing upwards. So we're going to grab the straps that we've done in step 1, and where we've got this seam, how we've sewn it and then turned it inside out, we're going to pop that facing downwards. So this is the seam here, you can see the overlocking thread hanging out. And what we're going to do is we're just going to put it and overlap it about 1 centimetre to the raw edge there. And then I'll pin it in place, and we're going to sew just up until the top of the bodice here. So we're going to zigzag stitch from here to the top here, and always do a back tack at the beginning and at the end. And then we're going to grab the other end. Sorry, a bit tricky with one hand. Make sure that we're not twisting it over, and then we're going to attach it to the back bodice. So this is going to form our shoulder strap. So again, the side with the seam is just going to sit here, just overlapping about 1 centimetre. And then we're going to stitch from the armhole all the way up to the top of the bodice with a zigzag stitch, and always back tack at the start and at the end. So this is going to form your shoulder strap. The bodice isn't joined yet, we'll do that step next. So we're just going to go the front and then the back, and make sure that this is nice and flat and not twisted over. So I'm going to pin it in place and carry on. Okay, so I've got it pinned onto the front of the bodice so far. I'm just going to do one side first. So I've pinned it on from the back. So this is what it looks like on the back side. So it's literally only overlapping like 1 centimetre, and I think I'm going to sew it on from the back just so I can make sure that it catches all of that up until the top here. So I'm going to zigzag it. Okay, so that is attached. So this is kind of where it sits. Give it a good press because it is going a bit crinkly, wrinkly, wobbly again. But pressing it will fix it. So we've got, oh my gosh, which side? So this is the outside. That'll be facing outwards, and so all you can see is the strap, and then on the inside you've got where it's attached, and you've got that raw edge. Because it's a knit, it's not going to fray, and you've zigzagged it, so it'll be totally fine. So just going to give it a good press, and then going to attach it to the back bodice to form that loop. Okay, so now that we've got both of the straps on, both the front and the back, you can put it over your head like a bib. We're going to attach the front to the back bodices now through the side seams. So we've got front, we've got our back hanging down there, and we're going to sew the two side seams together. So what we need to do is turn it so that the right sides are facing each other. And then you want to line it up at the underarm seam. So that's our shoulder there, and this is the top of the tank. And we're going to sew down the side seam. Now here you can overlock again, or you can do a zigzag stitch. Both work totally fine, up to you. So if you just line up the very tops of those shoulder straps so they're aligned, and then just sew with a 1 centimetre seam allowance all the way down the end, and we're going to do the same for both sides. So making sure that this is on the wrong side of your fabric and that the right sides are facing each other. So the stitching will all be on the inside, so it won't ever be seen. Okay, so now that we've sewn through the side seams, the bodice is all popped together, and we've only got one step left to do. Super quick sew, very easy. So if we turn it right side out, it's great to try it on at this stage because all we have left to do is the hemming. So at this stage you can see if you want it any shorter. I have quite a short torso, so I'll probably cut off maybe like 1 inch off mine and make it a little bit shorter. But if you wanted it more of of a cropped length, you can just chop a little bit off here if you haven't already done so, and then hem it. So hemming wise, we're going to do the exact same as what we did with the top of the front and the back. We're just going to fold it under, so fold it to the inside of your fabric, and then just sew a zigzag stitch all the way around. I'm going to do 2 centimeters here. You can do a smaller one if you like, or a longer one, bigger one, whatever you please. 2 centimeters will match up with the top of the hem, so I think that's what we've popped in the pattern. So yeah, just zigzag all the way around, give it another press, and then we're done. And here we have the finished tank in all its glory, ready for summer days. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll link the pattern below, as well as the fabrics that we've used and a few other good places to get the rib knit. I'll also link the little tags from Kylie and The Machine and DIY Daisy. They're so cute. Love them. Nothing sponsored. Just really love Brisbane sewists and the Brisbane Zone community. Thank you so much for watching again, and we will see you next time with the next pattern. And again, just a quick little note to show you what it looks like in the just a regular standard jersey. So the one that we've just sewn was a size 8 in the clay rib knit jersey, and you saw how that fit. This one I've made in the size 10 in just a standard jersey, so it doesn't have as much stretch to it. So you can see how you just need to size up one and it will still fit you really well. You just need to allow for a little bit more ease. So happy sewing, and can't wait to see what you guys make.